And we are back. It is conference championship review time. This will not be a combined show where we do the preview of the next game because the next game is the Super Bowl and we have the week off in between. So we're going to do that preview show next week. So this is just the review show of the conference championship games. And, if we have some other content to get to, we can. But if it's a shorter one, that's okay too. No problem
Yeah,
there.
nothing wrong. We've put in our share of marathons, so it's okay if we have a short one here and there. And
Yeah.
by the way, there's a ton of coaching news to discuss as well. So
All right.
we'll have content.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, man. Well, let's jump right in. The first game was the Commanders Eagles game. Your Eagles. We both got it right. The Eagles took care of business in a big way with the 55 points. But this was close until they blew it up later in the game. But up until about halftime, it was still pretty close.
Even through the most of the third quarter, Craig, you're right. I mean, it was. I was nervous. Let me wait. I'll pull up the box score. I should have had it up, but it was close. It felt because keep in mind the Commanders just came down from them 20. Well, like I think it was 22 points behind a month ago. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So even though the Eagles didn't have Jalen Hurts, they put up points. That wasn't the issue. So I was sweating like a maniac the whole way through this thing. And I mean not the whole way through, but all the way through the middle of the third quarter at least. When did it finally changed? When the Eagles got that when the Commanders got all chippy on that 2-point conversion.
Right.
They
By
lost
the
their
way,
minds. Say again?
By the way, I never heard of that before in my life.
What a hilariously weird rule.
That's what I mean. Is that even a rule, or is this just
It's
like
a
we're
real rule.
frustrated, so we're going to give him the points?
No, the Gene Steratore, who was the ref in the booth that day,
Yep.
earned his money more than any of these refs in the booth have ever done since they started doing it by right before, like literally about a minute before that ref said it, because it was what the Commanders were doing was ridiculous. I mean, they went off sides like 5 times in a row. Frankie Luvo vaulted over and dove into Jalen Hurts twice on those. I mean, it was insane.
I
It was
saw
like it
that.
was absolutely bonkers. It looked like a three-ring circus. It was crazy. It's like the Keystone Cops or something.
And they're just like, if this keeps up, we're going to award the points to Philadelphia. And I never heard of a referee rewarding points.
Well, and that's where I was heading, because Gene Steratore, a minute before, like during, as it was developing, as they were on like the third, because they finally said it after I think it was the fourth or fifth offsides when the guy on the field said it. Steratore said a minute before that, there's actually a rule. You never hear anybody call it, but it could be applied here if Washington keeps doing this. And he spelled it out. They showed the rule. Boom. It was a real rule. I can't believe it. It's as weird a rule. It's even a weirder rule, actually, than that free kick thing that happened earlier this year, too. But that's a weird one, too.
Wow, that is so bizarre.
So strange. I can't believe it. I can't believe you and I have combined to watch football for almost 100 years. And neither one of us have ever heard of that or seen it before.
Yeah, yep. Never saw that before. Not even close.
Incredible. Incredible. And I really think Washington lost their minds after that play. Like that was it for them. That's when the Eagles took over and just stepped on their necks.
Right, like they needed to.
Marshawn Lattimore lost his mind. It
But
got
yeah, I mean,
crazy.
they scored 21 points in the fourth, which means it was 34-23, which is still kind of striking distance going
For
into the
sure.
fourth.
For sure. Yeah. And I'll tell you where I was nervous until I finally found it
I
here.
think it was the fumble.
It was right when I was nervous up until 12:24 in the fourth. That's when Jalen Hurts got the tush push that led to that weird sequence.
Right.
And It was 34-23 before that. They were only up 11 points. That's two scores, two touchdowns, or a
Yeah, I
touchdown.
think it was 11 points with Washington had the ball, too. I mean, they
Yeah,
stopped
because I
them, I
think they
think.
went back. I don't think the Eagles just drove right down the field for that length of time. You might be right. So yeah, it was definitely, Washington had the ball down 11. I was sweating, but then
Yep.
luckily, the nice thing about Washington trading for Marshawn Lattimore is they traded for one of the most mentally unfit people in the league.
Yeah, he's out of his mind.
this guy does. He's a really good player, but he does stuff that costs his team constantly. And I was
Yep.
just glad to see it happen against the Eagles. You know.
Yep. Yep. There was 14 penalties in the game. Um, Let me see here who had more. I'm assuming, yeah, Washington had 9, Philly had 5. Um, but it was what I took from this game is I wanted to see Jalen Hurts do a little bit more through the air, and he definitely looked a lot better. 20 for 28, 246, 1 touchdown. It definitely just looked a lot more precise, a little bit, just, and got some yardage too because he needed some yardage. And Barkley only had 15 carries, still had 100 yards, of course, and 3 touchdowns,
He had 2 carries for 64 yards and 2 touchdowns at the end of the first quarter.
which is bonkers. Um,
I think
Will
the only reason
Shipley
they
ran
weren't
for
loading
so
him.
they ran for 229 yards,
Yeah, yeah. Will Shipley. One of the negatives in this game is that Kenny Gainwell, their outstanding backup running back, got a concussion, and hopefully he'll be back for the Super Bowl. He has 2 weeks, so I think the odds are pretty good. But Will Shipley, I really liked when they drafted him, and we didn't get to see him much this year because Barkley's so awesome, and they barely use their backup, let alone their third string running back. He comes in and I can't tell if he thought he was supposed to go down. I think he just gassed. It was a combination of him gassing and desperately not wanting to fumble. And he got dragged down after a 50-yard run when he could have gone into the end zone. It was so. Did you happen to see the slow mo replay of him looking behind him and then up at the screen, trying to figure out if somebody was going to strip this ball out of his hands?
yeah, I did see that replay, and I don't blame him
I don't either.
for going. I mean, he's a young kid. He wants to score in a conference championship game, and let him score.
Yeah. Listen, it was, and it's just he. I think he was gonna. I think he was gassed anyway. I think he was gonna go down inside the 5 because somebody was gonna catch him. But I think he was just outthinking himself in the moment. But either
Yeah,
way, good for him. He ended up with 4 carries for 77 yards and a touchdown. Awesome.
yeah.
AJ Brown, welcome back. 6 catches for 96 yards, and he had the touchdown, right? I didn't write it
Yes,
down.
he did have a touchdown. Yep.
Okay. And then Dallas Goddard had a big game too for a pass catcher, 7 catches for 85
Yeah.
yards.
On the other side, not much other than Zach Ertz for some reason, just like the corpse of Zach Ertz reemerged.
I
11
love it.
catches for 104 yards.
Unbelievable. He was the unstoppable force. I mean, it was I love Zach Ertz. It's a shame he's playing for a team I can't stand now, but this guy was been a heck of a player for a long time. He had a resurgent season, man. I don't know where he ended up in fantasy, but he was definitely a top 10 tight end at 36 or whatever he is now. And just had one of the best seasons he's had, and probably the best season he's had in 4 or 5 years. And he was a great tight end for his first 10 years. So yeah, that was
Absolutely.
the unstoppable Zach Ertz. Big stat too was the defenses. Washington had 1 sack, no picks. That was it. Philly's defense 3 sacks, interception, 2 forced fumbles that they recovered. The peanut punch. I haven't heard this much talk about the peanut punch since Peanut Tillman was still in the league.
Yeah, they had 3 fumble recoveries.
Oh, was it 3? I thought it was 2. Okay, cool.
Eckler, McNichols, and De'Ami Brown all fumbled and lost it.
That's right. Good call. Good call. Yep. Yeah.
And that's the story of the playoffs, as we said last week. You lose the turnover battle, you're in big trouble, and that's exactly what happened here. We had 4 turnovers on one side, no turnovers on the other, and that means you're gonna win, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, listen, I couldn't ask for any more from this game. The Eagles are playing the best they possibly could be playing heading into the Super Bowl. I couldn't ask for a better setup. Like it couldn't get any better. Now it doesn't mean they're going to win, but I can't you go down the checklist. Barkley playing like Barkley, Hurts playing as well as Hurts plays. AJ Brown back in the game plan, reading his
Yep.
book. Goddard
Yep.
kicking ass. Their backup running, their third string running back showed he can be useful.
Yeah.
Their defense played well without their backup linebacker to N'Kobe Dean, who I can't remember his name, but he played so well again. So yeah, they're just knocking on, or they're just clicking on all cylinders. And just a couple things from the game. Um, They set an NFC championship record with 7 rushing TDs. The record is held, or was held, is now that they are now tied with by the 1940 Bears.
Wow.
Sid Luckman ran for one of those Bear touchdowns. That's how long ago
Jeez.
that was. That was the
Sid
only name I
Luckman.
recognized. I looked it up, and he was the only name of the 7 touchdowns that I knew.
Right. An interesting stat there. I know I had some stats last week. I don't have nearly as many this week, but one that is very disheartening for me and shows how pathetic my team is. You guys had 7 rushing touchdowns yesterday or on Sunday,
Yeah.
and the Cowboys had 6 for the year.
Oh my God, I had no idea. I didn't catch that stat. Wow.
The Cowboys had 6 rushing touchdowns this season.
Wow, Craig, I didn't even realize that. Holy mackerel. Wow, that's incredible. Wow, good one. Good one. Couple other things. Did you see this was one of my favorite parts of the game because there was listen, this is an NFC East game. These guys don't like each other. This is obviously setting up to be a ferocious rivalry for a little while here because this is the first time anybody gave a crap about what Washington did for quite a while, and they showed up big this year. And this game got real chippy. You know what I mean? It got real chippy. Did you see the replay of what Jalen Carter did to Tyler Badass Biotish? You have
No.
to find this. Anybody listening to this that didn't see it, find it. Um, so somebody made a meme out of it. So I don't know when it was, at what point in the game. I don't know if it was early, late. I do know because Tyler. Never mind. It was in the fourth quarter, and I think it was pretty close to after that Marshawn Lynch thing or Marshawn Lattimore thing. So here's what happened. The replay picks up with Tyler Biadasz hand gripping Jalen Carter's face mask in the middle of a block in the middle of a play. And he's shoving it looks like he's trying to push the face mask off of Jalen Carter's head, which happens, this happens in offensive line stuff. Jalen Carter doesn't like it. So he reaches back with a big bear paw and punches him with an open hand slap right in the face mask, knocks him on his ass and out of the game. It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life, Greg. Don't F with Jalen Carter. Oh my God, it was beautiful. Couple other stats real quick. Bad news, I mentioned Kenny Gainwell. Cam Jurgens and Landon Dickerson did some of the coolest tough guy stuff I've ever seen. Cam Jurgens was out with a back injury. Landon Dickerson hurt his knee early. Cam Jurgens dressed. Dickerson was in agony. You could tell. He's waving off Jurgens because Jurgens wanted to help him out and come back in the game. He refused to let him. After the second half, Dickerson couldn't go. Jurgens comes back in, plays the whole second half with his bad back. And they're supposed both questionable for the Super Bowl, but probably going to play because they're crazy, insane, tough guys like most offensive linemen.
Yeah. Yep.
A couple other things. 55 points is the most ever in a conference championship game since they started in 1970. They beat the Bills in 90, who scored 51 versus the Raiders.
Oh wow.
Yeah, pretty cool. The Birds have 10 takeaways and 0 turnovers this postseason. Most takeaways without a turnover entering or wait, what does it say? Most takeaways without a turnover in postseason history. And I got a mea culpa. I love it. I'm not. It really isn't. I'm not apologizing because Sirianni did some weird shit this year. But I will say, he's my guy. This is my guy. He might have done some weird ass shit, but he pulled this team together, man. And here we are. And the cool stat is he's the third coach ever to reach the Super Bowl 2 times in his first 4 seasons. You want to take a guess at either of the other 2? I don't think I would have got this. It's possible. It's in the realm of possibility.
Yeah, I'm not going to get it.
Yeah. Joe Gibbs and the oft discussed on our podcast, Mike Tomlin.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. I wouldn't have come up with that in a million years, but good little stat there.
All right.
Cool. So I
Well,
think we thoroughly covered that one.
yeah, congratulations to the Eagles, to your Eagles.
Yeah, thank you, man. I can't believe it. This has been a heck of a season, a fun season to watch, man. Fun season to
Yeah.
watch.
Yep. Okay, let's go to the other game that was much closer. We got it wrong. We both picked Buffalo to pull the upset off, but I mean, 32-29, Kansas City wins. All right. I, like you, do not believe there's like a conspiracy,
Mm-hmm.
but there is this weird thing going on where if it's a 50-50 call, it seems like they get it almost every time.
See, I think what's happening is a scientific term called confirmation bias.
Yeah, but I was paying attention specifically for it. And whenever there was any kind of question where it could go either way, which obviously, if it could go either way, then that means it could definitely go Kansas City's way. But it seemed like it went that way every single time.
See, and it's funny
And
because I was paying attention too, and I didn't see that. So this is where it's a tough thing. You know what I mean? To
right.
figure out.
Well, first of all, what's his face's
The
knee
quarterback
was not
sneak.
down. His knee was not down. That was
Listen,
a first down.
that. I don't care if it's the Chiefs or the Bengals or the San Pay Tigers. If that whatever we'll call way that went first is the way it was going to stay,
Right. But of course, they didn't give it to him because it's the Chiefs.
or they didn't give it to him because it was really close and it was hard to tell.
Right, right. Okay, but then the next play was the same thing, and it went to the Chiefs again. Two plays in a row that basically decided the game because it was late in the game, and they didn't get either one of them. And it definitely, if it went the Bills' way, either one, nobody would have complained and said that was a bad call because
Wait, what was the second play, Craig?
Josh Allen was over the line. The next play, the very next play, he was over the line clearly.
Wait, you because I thought we were talking about the fourth down uh, quarterback sneak.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Josh Allen was over the line
Okay,
clearly.
but the refs didn't see it that way first. They don't overturn it when the refs if he had been called if it had been called a first down, it would have stayed that way. If it wasn't a called a first down, it
Right,
stayed
but
that way.
again, it wasn't both times. Two plays in a row, the Chiefs got the benefit both times. If you're trying to say it's 50-50, it could go either way, then, logically, just doing the easy math, then that means one of those should have went Buffalo's way because they were both
That's not the
50-50
way that stuff
calls.
works, Craig. Not even
Right,
close. Like it's not.
but
It doesn't mean it's like
it
tit for
never does
tat the
for
whole game. It doesn't work that way.
it never does for the Chiefs opponents. It never does. It never works. Just like when the week before when Houston got hit with the late hit and nobody touched Mahomes and they ran into each
But let me
other
ask you
and
this.
they still called it. And again, they could have called it one way or the other. And again, the Chiefs get it. It
Let me
just
ask you
seems
this. If you
like
think there's any credibility to this at all, why are you still
yes.
watching football? Because if you ever convince me that this is true, not only am I done watching football, obviously our podcast is done because I won't be watching it anymore. If I believe this was true, I wouldn't be wasting my time watching this sport.
I believe there's something to it. I'm not saying the referees are being blatant about it. I don't think that at all. I don't think they're cheating for them. But I do think if it's 50-50 and can go either way, I want to see one of those plays go the other way. And honestly, this entire playoffs, I can't remember one play that was 50-50 that did not go their way.
What was the penalty breakdown in this game?
It was, stand by, I have it right here. It
You-
was 6-5. Buffalo had six. Kansas City had five, but five for 21 yards for Kansas City and six for 48 yards for the Bills.
Okay, that doesn't mean anything.
No, I would say that doesn't mean anything. I'm saying those two calls. Those two calls were either one of them could have been a first down, and in my eyes looked like a first down both times because they put who was it? Who the hell was the tight end? Uh,
the the tight end for the Bills
the
as they were
Bills.
running the was it Tyler Knox or Dalton Kincaid?
I think it was Kincaid. I don't
Okay,
know for sure, but it was the play before the first the play with Josh Allen up the middle, the fourth down play. It was the third down play where he dove and they thought his knee went down. And if where they thought that his knee went down, he was short. But when on the replay, he didn't. His knee was not down. He dove and he kept his knees up, and he got the first down. And they They didn't give it to him. Could have went either way. And then Josh Allen, he was clearly over, and they didn't give it to him, and that was basically the game. After that, the game was over.
See, the thing is, man, you can do this with every game in the NFL all season, and it's really the most boring part of all of this to me. So, like, you feel free to go off. It just doesn't. I don't see it. It doesn't really interest me. So,
Yeah, I don't know how you don't see it. I can't see how you're watching every single game and not say that every 50-50 play goes their way.
because
Because
it's not
like I said, I
true.
don't even remember when. Not, no, it is true. I don't remember one play in this playoffs that were 50-50 that did not go their way. In some plays that were not even penalties that went their way.
Yeah, I
I'd like
mean,
to see it go the other way a couple times. This one time where the Chiefs are like, "What the hell? That was not a where the Chiefs get screwed a little bit by the refs, and it never happens.
okay, I'm looking at one right now. Okay, you know what? I got you because there was a blatant face mask penalty on Xavier Worthy, and I'm
Okay,
looking at it right now in the game.
okay.
They talked about it on the replay. I guess you didn't catch it, obviously, but there it is. I mean, there's your one.
Well, wait. How's that not? How's that a 50-50 call if he blatantly had a
They
face
didn't
mask?
call it
Oh, they didn't call it.
right.
Oh,
Bishop, number 24 for the Bills, grabbed him by the face mask, wrenched his head sideways. Xavier Worthy ran out of bounds, looked at the ref, and said, "I got face mask." There's a ref standing right there, and nobody called it.
very interesting. Very good.
Yeah, confirmation bias, my friend.
No, I still no.
Well, how'd you miss that then?
Definitely
How'd you
disagree.
miss that then?
Definitely disagree.
How did you miss the Worthy call then?
I probably didn't miss the movie. I mean, I watched the whole game, so I didn't miss the call.
But you just said you'd like to see the Chiefs not get or the Chiefs get screwed one time. There it is, an example. I just gave it to you.
Yeah, but when was it?
11:45 in the third quarter.
Yeah, that doesn't change my opinion one bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, I don't think they're blatantly cheating. I definitely don't think they're cheating at all. But I definitely think there's something to these people who are losing their minds. By the way, I'm not the only one. People are going crazy. Rich Eisen said it's the biggest disgrace in the history of the league. Like Rich Eisen went absolutely ballistic on his podcast. A couple other people have gone crazy with it, and it's not like this doesn't have legs. There's plenty. You can easily go find a bunch of people going off on this. This is not something that I'm coming up with on my own.
Oh no, I
I
know, but here's
you
the thing:
know,
when you present those people with a fact like I just did, they just say it doesn't matter and move right back to their theory.
right. Well, another thing too, you just gave one, and I gave two that were way more important than that play in the fourth quarter that basically, in effect, ended the game. Ended the championship, ended the AFC championship because of two plays that were called incorrectly in favor of the Chiefs.
All right, man.
That's my opinion.
I
Okay.
don't understand why you're still watching football then. Why are you going to bother watching the Super Bowl?
I've debated not watching it because I hate both teams. I don't want either team to win, but I obviously I'm gonna watch it anyway. It is a Super Bowl, but it's not something I'm gonna be glued to and really if I have a few people over and we're eating, it'll just be on. But I'm not gonna be glued to it. I don't think. But who knows? It is the Super Bowl. I'll probably get totally sucked in like I always do.
Right. Nice. I love it. I love it.
But yeah. So anyway, regardless. Chiefs get the job done like they always do. 32-29. Buffalo did cover. And by the way, the only road team to win any playoff game this entire postseason is Washington. Nobody else has won. No, not one other road team won a game.
That's true. Yeah, and they won twice, right?
They won two, but it was them both times. But every other home team won
That's fascinating.
from
And
the
that
wild card. And usually that's not the case.
right, there's usually some stuff happens for sure. For sure.
Right.
That's
And that,
wild, man.
yeah, yeah, kind of crazy.
That really
Um,
is.
let's
Thank you,
see.
Washington, for taking out the Detroit, by the way.
And Tampa, because for some reason, for some reason, that's not something you guys like.
Yeah, for
I don't know.
real. For
I don't know
real.
why. You guys
I
got to
know.
go next year, and if you win the Super Bowl, you'll get the first game, and it should be against Tampa, and just stomp them.
Is that how it works? They play the team they
No,
played.
I don't know. I don't. There's
Okay,
no
okay.
theory, but if they, the first game is always the Super Bowl winner against a quality opponent
Absolutely.
in their conference.
Absolutely. No, I would love that. I would love that. And we'll get to some coaching maneuvers that affected them in a negative way later on.
Yeah, yeah. But this game, um, Josh Allen, 227, two touchdowns, no picks. Patrick Mahomes, 245, one touchdown, no picks. Um, they both got sacked twice, which is good for symmetry.
Yeah, nice.
James Cook, 85 yards and two touchdowns. Kareem Hunt, 64 yards and a touchdown. Patrick Mahomes ran for two other touchdowns, 43 yards.
That was huge, yeah.
Yeah.
He did a Josh Allen on one of them.
Yeah, he did.
I couldn't believe it because Mahomes was an effective runner to a limited degree, but I've always like he has a funny run. Does it strike you that way?
Yeah, he's a little awkward.
He sticks out his belly when he runs.
He's a
It's
little awkward.
it's like watching a little kid run. It's so funny to me. And he usually has this funny run, and he runs out of bounds or slides or something. And this time he lowered his shoulder and pounded somebody right when he got into the end zone. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. All right. Well, Mac Hollins had 73 to touch.
Matt Collins
And
is awesome.
yeah,
I love
good for
Matt Collins.
him.
Have you ever seen any of the memes that have come out with him and all the crazy stuff he does, like during like when somebody else scores or whatever?
No, I haven't. No.
Oh man, if anybody out there is bored someday or just has an interest in Mac Hollins, just look up Mac Hollins like celebrations or funny videos or something. You'll find it pretty easy. There's one where I don't know who scored the touchdown because the shot was at a crazy angle. Whoever caught the touchdown pass was at the other end of the end zone, and the camera was at the far end. Mac Hollins' route took him to where that camera was. The touchdown happens, and he proceeds to walk. It takes him 30 seconds. He walks across the entire end zone like a broken toy soldier. And there's like 50 of these with this guy. It's unbelievable. He's priceless.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love him.
Xavier Worthy, 85 yards and a touch.
Dude, Worthy is turning into a stud. We've been talking about that for a month and a half now, and it's continued into the playoffs. When they have Rashee Rice and a whole complement of people next year, we're not going to be talking about their lack of weapons anymore.
No, well, no, we are not. Especially, yeah, Rice comes back. Yep, yep. Um, apparently, the Bills are going to have another tumultuous offseason. Even though they shed so much last year because they had to, apparently they have to again. They're way over again.
Yeah, they're in. I don't know what they did. I don't know what the
Yeah, they're in like
contract.
cap hell.
Yeah, I don't know what they did to themselves, but they are apparently. You're right. They have to purge again, and I'm not going to make the same mistake this year. I mean, it's not like we put them out of the playoffs or anything, but we both had them as like a wild card team, if I remember right.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not going to make the mistake of doubting Josh Allen ever again. And here's a
No.
cool Bills stat, by the way, to kind of go along with this whole Bills discussion now. Check this out, man. The Bills 78 win. The Bills have 78 wins from 2009 to 2024 season. It's just a number when you hear it. But here's where it
Yeah.
gets interesting. That is the most wins by 7 than any other team in a 5-season span in the history of the NFL not to make a Super Bowl appearance.
Jeez.
How about that, man?
They just can't get over. This is what, the third or fourth time that they lost to the
I
Chiefs.
think it's the 4th. I think they were 0-3 coming in, and this is
Jeez.
4. Yeah. And
Ah.
Craig, it gets like worse if you're a Bills fan, better if you're a stat nerd. Bills now have 8 straight road playoff losses. And I wish I knew that number before I picked them last week.
Yeah. Wow.
I didn't know that, man. I somehow that escaped me, and that's a monster number right there. Holy moly!
Yep. Well, Kansas City's back against your Eagles. Going to be very interesting. Uh, Next week when we make our picks, I know where I'm leaning, but this is another. I think this is a coin flip game for me.
I agree.
I can see it go either way for sure.
I agree. I mean, I really obviously want to pick the Eagles. I haven't made my decision yet, so I'm not giving anything away. But But I'll tell you what, this is a really good matchup between two good teams.
Yep.
Um, the Chiefs have a quarterback advantage. The Eagles have a massive advantage in running back and skill positions, except for tight end. Goddard and Kelsey are probably about even at this point, although I'll still give it to Kelsey because he's Kelsey. And where's I heading with that?
On
Oh,
defense, yeah, and Philly's probably got the defensive advantage.
yes. Now the Chiefs have a good D, but it's not Phillies.
Right.
So they have an excellent. Their strength is their run defense. So I'm curious to see if they can hold down Saquon at all. I mean, the over under on Barkley rush yards at this point has to be a $120. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So I'm really curious to see how that whole all works out. But here's if you want to make a negative case against Philly, the best negative case you can make is their kicker situation.
Yeah, that did not get resolved.
No, he just keeps missing. And he'll make it's not like he misses every kick. He'll go 2 for 3 and miss 2 extra points. But they have
Yeah,
a
that's
real
that's rough.
situation. They
Yeah.
can't even consider kicking a field goal from 55 yards right now. And most teams in the league do that without thinking much anymore.
Right. Right.
Um,
Right. That's true.
Harrison Butker, here's another good stat for you, Craig. Harrison Butker has never missed a field goal in the postseason in the fourth quarter.
Jeez. I mean, that's a hell of a weapon.
So that is the one single greatest advantage for the Chiefs in this whole game to me.
Yeah, I would say their kicking game is definitely, excellent, and Phillies leaves a lot to be desired right now.
No doubt, no doubt. So it's a hell of a matchup, though, man. I think the instant point spread right after the Chiefs Bills game ended was a 1.5 point favorite for the Chiefs, and I haven't seen that move. Have you looked? Have you noticed?
Yeah, no, I saw 1.5 as well.
Okay.
I mean, this is going to stay, within a point of that for sure. It's not going to go any higher than 2.5. I don't think it
Yeah, yeah,
won't go
yeah.
any lower than, one in the Eagles' favor. You know what I mean? Like
I
it's going to
agree.
stay pretty close.
I completely agree. Completely agree. Yeah, this is a tough game to figure, man, because there's just so many variables, and so many strengths and different ways they play into each other. And man, I don't know. I can't figure it out, but
Yeah,
it
man.
should hopefully it'll be fun to watch.
The key for the Eagles, I think, is hold the ball last. Because if Kansas City
Yeah,
holds the ball last and they're within one score, I don't think anybody in the world can stop them.
I completely agree. And it's either hold the ball last or win big. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
or
with
be
you.
up 10 with a minute to go with Kansas City gets the ball back.
Exactly, and hope they
Right.
don't make the hope they don't get the onside kick when Mahomes leads them to a touchdown in 43 seconds.
Right. 'Cause that's exactly what's I mean, is there any more sure of a thing than Kansas City within one score going down for a 2-minute drive in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I know it's insane.
That means it's automatic at this point.
Yeah, you combine the greatness of Mahomes with that stat we just talked about with Butker. All they have to do is get the ball to the roughly the 40-yard line of the other team, and they're a lock. And
Yeah.
Mahomes is going to do that. You give him 20 seconds, he's going to do that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So I'm with you 100%. You said it perfectly, man. They need the ball at the end or build a massive lead throughout the game.
Yeah. All right. Well, it will be cool. Will be interesting. As I'm saying, I'm not not that interested or whatever. Now we're talking about it and getting psyched up for it.
Yeah, that's totally.
like I said, I'm probably gonna get sucked in anyway. It took me 2 minutes to get sucked back in already.
That's so funny, man. Because I've had the same like thoughts about Super Bowls in the past, especially when the Eagles get knocked out of the playoffs, and then by the time it comes around, I'm like, all right, let's go.
Yeah. So make sure you guys check out our pod next week for the Super Bowl predictions and preview, and we're going to give our scores and who we think, and we'll get into it. So that'll be next week. Let's talk about some coaching moves that happened since the last pod.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I got a whole list of them. So how do you want to go here? What do you want to do
Uh,
first, or how do you want to approach it?
whichever you want to go. You just go right down the line.
Okay, so let's start with head coaches. Let's do that because there's a lot of interesting coordinator stuff to hit, but the head coaches are always the prime action. So I have a list of the head coaching hires here. Now, listen, before we even get into it, we got to talk about your boys and what they ended up doing, because we talked about this last pod. You were kind of hoping it wasn't going to happen, but you also thought it probably was, and it did. They went with Brian Schottenheimer. Thoughts?
Well, I'm not as down on it as I was before
Mm-hmm.
after hearing him, after hearing some of the other coaches that are on board. And I don't get me wrong, I don't love it. I just don't absolutely, despise it like I thought I would.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think this guy's some incompetent idiot or anything. This is not Dave Campo.
Right,
Um,
right, and they are. Although I'm not happy about the defensive coordinator situation,
that's what I was going
uh,
to hit next. Okay, and yeah, let's
that
let the people know what happened there.
well, Mike Zimmer was on for 1 year. It took them, I would say, 10 to 12 games to figure out his very precise and detailed defense that he runs.
Yep.
But once they figured it out, they played pretty well on defense.
Not just pretty well, they played great. I'm with you 100%. Yeah, they looked really good. So I thought, and we talked about this last week, that the hire of Schottenheimer, I thought, just from the outside looking in, that was a lock that Zimmer would be back. Turned out not to be the case.
Right. So Zimmer's gone, and they brought in Matt Eberflus, who was a terrible, terrible head coach, but is actually a pretty good defensive coordinator, which is why he got the head coaching job to begin with.
Exactly. He was a good DC with the Colts.
Yeah, and so I'm not upset about that particular hire. You got the guy doing what he's good at, which is fine. But I am a little bit concerned that it's going to take another 10 games next year to figure out his defense.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's that's the thing. Whenever you switch people up, the nice thing is, I guess, if the best thing for all of this is that your offense stays intact when Dak comes back.
Well, yeah, I mean, Brian Schottenheimer was the OC. He wasn't calling the plays. McCarthy was, but he was the OC last year. So the offensive play scheme and the offense in general should be pretty much the same. So that's good. So points probably won't be too much of a problem, depending on what else they do. What happens in the offseason here.
Mm-hmm.
But how long is it going to take? Even for a talented defense, which I think the Cowboys' defense is talented, but if it takes 10 games again, is that going to be too late? Especially with the schedules our friggin' whole division has.
Oh God, yeah, we talked about that. That is brutal, man.
Oh,
Like, I'm
it's
usually not one to worry about schedules, but that one is worrisome for sure, for
it,
sure.
and
Wow.
just as a very very quick um, refresh, real quick, your Eagles. I think the winner of our division is going to win like 9 games.
That's crazy, man. And you might be right based on the schedule.
Again, you never know. Obviously, it could definitely. You never know what's going to happen throughout the year. But I mean, it's just the road games. Listen to the road games. Of course, you got Cowboys, Giants, and Commanders.
Sure.
Which two of those are probably not going to be easy. Then you got at the Bills, at the Packers, at the Chiefs,
I mean, what the hell? It's like some masochist put this thing together.
at the Chargers, at the Vikings.
I mean, what the hell? What in the world? That's crazy. That's five playoff teams on the road.
Yep, and then at Tampa.
What? I mean, good lord. Why don't they just go to Jeffrey Lurie's house and pull out his toenails?
Yeah, I mean, come on, jeez. And then you got for home. It doesn't get much better.
Ugh.
It's obviously Cowboys, Giants, Commanders. Okay, you got the Bears. That should be okay.
Thank
Then
goodness.
at home Detroit Lions
Oh, jeez.
and Denver, who's on the rise, and the Rams.
Oh, that's
And then you got the Raiders. So you got the Raiders and Bears at home, which I think you can put in the check column for wins. And then you got your home games against Dallas and Washington, which are going to win, and both games against the Giants, which are going to win. But that's like 6 wins, and where you're going to have to win some of these. You're going to have to either beat the Bills, Packers, Chiefs, Chargers, Vikings,
well.
Lions,
That's
Broncos. You're going to have to beat like half of them.
correct me if I'm wrong, Craig. There's only two teams outside of the division on the Eagles' schedule that didn't make the playoffs this year?
Yeah, yeah.
That's freaking.
And by the way, Dallas's schedule is identical, except for instead of the Bills, we have the Jets.
Well, that's a bonus for you, but it's still tough.
Yep, and also the instead of instead of the Lions. No, we're all playing that division. I think. Yeah,
Oh,
we're
okay.
all playing that division. I'm trying to think the other division. Oh, instead of Tampa, we're playing whoever came in second there.
Atlanta, maybe? Was it Atlanta?
Maybe yeah. I think Atlanta. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
whatever. Either way, the whole division has a tough. Like for the Giants, where's a win on that schedule?
Yeah, dude. Like that's nuts. That's the toughest schedule I ever remember on seeing on paper for the Eagles. Honestly.
Yeah. Again, on paper, you never know. Some of these teams might fall completely off, and all of a sudden, the Bills is an easy win, or the Vikings is an easy win. But
Yeah, you never know, but boy, and there's a couple teams in there I could point to and say the Vikings are one of them that could have a fall off, but there's not many.
right, and the Chargers are
The
getting better,
Chargers are getting better. The Broncos are getting better.
and the Rams are getting better, and they're both on the road.
Stafford announced. I was going to bring that up later. Stafford announced he's coming back next year, so that's huge for them.
Right, right. Oh,
They know
actually, no.
their
The
they know
Rams,
their
the Rams
stable.
is on. The Rams is at home, but the Chargers is on the road.
Okay, okay, man. Yeah, that's just a lot of good teams, man. That's a lot of tough football.
But anyway, I just wanted to touch on that one more time.
Yeah, it's good.
But
It's crazy.
yeah. So what led me to that? What were we talking?
We were talking about coaches,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
oh yeah, we were on we were still talking about the Cowboys.
Yep, yep, yep.
And
With
I
the
have one more thing
schedule.
about the Cowboys, real quick, because you and I both. It was surprised me to find early on in the podcast when we first started this that you and I both had an affection for a certain ex-player coach and think very highly of him. And he's one of the guys the Cowboys let get out of the building, and I couldn't believe it. And that's Al Harris.
I can't believe that.
I was stunned because
Oh
I am convinced that he will be a defensive coordinator in this league soon.
yes, he's excellent.
I agree. I loved him as a
He
player.
was
I
kind
think
of like a
highly of his
secret.
head.
Yeah, the Cowboys had two secret weapons on their coaching staff, and they're both gone now.
Who was the other one?
The other one was Fossil,
Oh,
the special teams
special teams coach.
coordinator.
Yep. Bones
Yeah,
Fossil. Yep.
Bones, and he was regarded when we got him as the best special teams coach in the entire league.
He's been thought of that way for at least 15 years now, I would say, something
Yeah,
like
and
that.
he's gone as well.
Yeah, that's wild, man. Wild. I didn't even realize that. That one I didn't catch. So wow, that's, yeah. So I'm with you there 100%. Okay. All right. Back to head coaches. And this is a real interesting one, my man. Pete Carroll got another chance, and the only team in the league that was going to give it to him is the Oakland Raiders. I'm sorry, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, 72. It'll be 73. I think by the season, when the season starts, or shortly after. Um, this is probably like a 3-year plan, but I think he was all part of this was also naming his successor after 2 or 3 years. Like he's going to put somebody on the staff that he wants to be the successor.
Do we know
Um,
who that is? Do we have any ideas?
I don't think that came out yet or not.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
think that came out.
That's cool,
Um,
though. Interesting.
that's probably not in concrete either, but I think that's the idea.
Interesting. Cool.
And he's a great coach. Obviously, I think what they want to do is just kind of clean it up and then let him do what he does for a couple of years, leave them in a better state than they are now, and then off to the races they go after that. Um, he's not here long term, and we'll see how he does. I mean, he's got the pedigree. He's definitely a good coach, and it's weird to say, but he's like a young 73.
He is. He
If you can
totally
say
is.
that.
He runs around. He ran more on the sideline last two seasons ago now for his last season in Seattle than
Yeah,
Andy Reid has moved in the last decade.
right.
So this he's just one of those super energetic young guys. He's like we acted like Marv Levy was 150 years old when he was doing this in the 90s. It's not that big a deal anymore. You know what I mean? So,
No, no.
if he's
And
up for it, they're up for it. It's all good.
yeah, and it's a 3-year deal if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not 100% sure. I think you're right. I'll find it while you're talking.
Right. And yeah, like I said, I think they just want him to come in and get them pointed in the right direction, and then he can be on his way once he does that. Clean up the mess, clean up the penalties, get change the culture as much as he can, which he probably will be able to do, and just get them pointed in the right direction. That's what they're doing with this. I think they're just trying to right the ship, and he's a good guy to do that.
There were two guys this offseason that are that guy to me, and that's him and Mike McCarthy that have both
Yep.
shown a level of success that can at least turn your pathetic franchise into something semi-respectable.
Right. Exactly. And hopefully looking better for the future as well.
Absolutely. And you were correct, it is a 3-year deal.
Right. I liken that to Bill Parcells when he went to the Cowboys.
Yeah,
The Cowboys had 3, 5, and 11 seasons in a row with the likes of like Quincy Carter at
that was the Dave
quarterback.
Campo era I always refer to, isn't
I think so.
it?
But Parcells came in, changed the culture, made the playoffs the first year, which didn't make any sense,
Right.
and but got some good, brought in Drew Bledsoe and Vinny Testaverde and all that, and then Bledsoe gets hurt, and lo and behold, Tony Romo shows up, and
Right.
Demarcus Ware was drafted during that time. DeMarco Murray was on the team during that time, so he just righted the ship, got them pointing in a good direction, and then he was on his way.
Yeah, man.
And I think that's what Carroll's supposed to do here.
That makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. Absolutely. Yeah, I thought that was a good hire for the Raiders. I thought that was about as good as they could possibly do, given what they are right now. Let's see. Now, next, we covered a lot of these coach hires already, so I'm just trying to remember which ones we didn't talk about already, Craig.
Right? Yeah, we already talked about Aaron Glenn
Yeah, we talked about Vrabel. We
and
talked about
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson. We talked about Glenn. You said, okay, that's the only other one I think that we didn't talk about, and that is quite the reversal of fortune since the last time we talked about it. Actually, Liam Cohen went to Jacksonville a couple weeks ago, found out Trent Baalke was still the general manager, said, "Nah, I'm good." Went back to Tampa for about a day and a half. They fired Baalke, called him up, said, "We got rid of Baalke." He said, "I'm your man."
Oh my God! Did you see his press conference?
Oh my God.
That was the creepiest,
So weird.
weird, weirdest, and I mean, this is right up there with like Adam Gaze with the eyes.
Yeah. Oh,
The Duval. What the hell, dude? Shut up.
what the hell? It's so weird, man. This whole thing was weird. Apparently, he's catching crap for not handling it well with Tampa. Apparently, he said he left Jackson. If I have it right, which I'm not sure I have it 100%, but it sounds like he left Jacksonville, turned it down because of Balky, told them he was coming back, and then got an offer before he was back in the facility. Didn't call them back when he was supposed to. Took the job and then told them like 12 hours later or something. Like there was something bad in the way he handled it. He did the weird press conference. So this is a very inauspicious beginning to his career in Jacksonville. But it's perfect. It just fits right in with the weirdness in Jacksonville, man. It seems to.
Yeah, the Duval thing just weird, weird.
What in the world? We're going to be quoting that. That's going to be like, you like that. And, and a whole bunch of other quotes that don't go away.
Oh, especially if it's a train wreck,
Yeah. Yes.
which it might be.
It very well could be, man. Like, listen, this guy was the. Am I right that he was the offensive coordinator for one season?
I believe so. Yeah.
Because their other coordinator got hired last year.
Yep.
So, I mean, I like what he did. Tampa's offense was awesome this year. I think he did a great freaking job. But this is not some like 5-year stud in the making. This was a guy who had a hot season, and they hired a hot guy in the moment. So nobody else was going to hire this guy. So it's a
No.
fascinating one, man. Really interesting.
Duval.
Duval, what the hell? What guy? What in the world was
Oh
that guy
man.
thinking?
All right. So I have an idea for next week.
Yeah, hit me.
I wanted we're doing these all-time lists with Jordan on his podcast, The Baseline. We do a couple, baseball podcasts with Jordan as well over here. But exclusively on The Baseline, he's doing the top 10 lists of all time at every position, and we've been in on that for a little bit now. We're going to be doing another one soon.
Been a blast.
Um,
Yeah.
how would you like to do some? I mean, this is going to be hard.
Ooh.
Some of the some positions, top 10 all time
Oh, I love it.
at skill positions: quarterback, running back, receiver
Okay. Okay. So top 10 QB, RB, wide receiver.
of all time.
I love it. QB, RB, wide
And,
receiver.
might as well go tight end.
Okay. Yeah, let's go tight end. Let's just all the fantasy positions.
Yeah, yeah. We're not going to go crazy. The top left guard of all time.
Yeah,
You don't have to
right.
get that detailed.
Oh, I love it, man. That's awesome. Yeah. No, that's perfect. I love it. That'll be really fun to do. And oh my god, it's going to be impossible, but it's going to be awesome.
I just when I thought of that, I just started kind of try to think of the running backs, and you're right. It is absolutely impossible.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, oh man. I mean, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to ruin it for the listeners, but I know who number one. That's the two easiest of this whole thing are number one running back and number one receiver.
I don't know. Number one running back's not easy for me.
Oh, it should be. And I'm going to text you a name right now. Don't say it. Oops. If I could spell.
All right, all right.
Here
Very
we go.
interesting. Let's see.
Here we go.
Yeah, obviously it's between the guy you just texted me and the guy I'm going to text you right now.
Oh, I love it. Right on. Right on. Yeah.
And I don't know which way I'm going to go. I'm going to
Right
go
on.
one of them for sure, and the other one will be number two. But I don't know which way I'm going to go.
Right on. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, no, and that's I mean, that's a great name too. So yeah, you won't get any crap from me if you go that way.
Right. I mean, these lists are subjective. There's no way to give anybody any crap for it because it's just an opinion at this.
Exactly. It's just yeah,
But
exactly. I mean, listen, if I
and we
came in
both
and
know.
said that Will Shipley is my number 4 running back of all time, you can give me crap for that. But
Well, yeah, but
neither
we're
of
not
us are
going to
going to
say
do
anything.
anything that weird.
Yeah, we're not going to be saying anything ludicrous.
Right, exactly, exactly.
So it'll be a good list for both of us for sure.
I
I
love
figure
it.
that'll
That'll be
give us
so
some
much fun.
content next week when we do the Super Bowl preview.
Yeah, because the preview's only going to take a couple minutes. That'll give us some stuff to do, and
Yeah.
absolutely, man, absolutely. I love it.
All right.
And I
So
have a
that's
couple
cool.
true and false if you want to do that real quick before we call it a day.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay. We answered one already because I couldn't contain myself. And that is the true or false is Al Harris will be a defensive coordinator within 3 seasons. Well, we didn't really
Yes.
answer that specifically.
Yes, he will.
I agree.
I mean, it's a lock that he will. 3 seasons, most likely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable. I think it's reasonable. And if I was a team looking for a defensive coordinator, he would be on my list for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
I would love it if he came back to Dallas. Actually.
Yeah, man. Listen, I listen. If he ever wanted to become part, like if they wanted to groom him to take over for Vic Fangio, whenever Vic wants to walk off into the sunset, I'd be thrilled.
Yeah.
So okay, next one. Robert Salah. How do we say it, Craig?
Salah.
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 Sorry. Robert Salah will be the best. Who, by the way, got hired in. We didn't say it on air. In San
San
Francisco,
Francisco. He's
returned.
back.
Yeah, he's back to be their defensive coordinator. Salah will be the best coordinator hire this offseason. And I have a few others I can throw at you if you need some reference.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Let me just find it here real quick. Here we go. Oh, wait, that's not the one.
I'm leaning
Here we
towards true.
Yeah, I am too. There's so many. It's hard to say. If you want to play the numbers, it's probably safer to say false. But I do really, really, really like it.
Yeah.
Here we go. Some of the big ones were him, Josh McDaniels back at offensive coordinator for the Patriots. I've never been a Josh McDaniels guy personally.
Right.
This is an interesting one. Did you see that the Bengals poached the Notre Dame to get Al Golden as their defensive coordinator?
Very interesting.
Yeah, especially if you consider that Notre Dame just gave up 34 points in the championship game.
Yeah, that's true.
It's funny because he got hired as DC off of 34 points. Now it's Ohio State. Ohio State's going to score against everybody, but it's just interesting. He gets hired off of that. Aaron Glenn gets hired as based off his defensive coordinator abilities as head coach in the New York Jets after giving up 45 points in a playoff loss.
Right.
It's a fascinating way to roll into a head coaching job. But nothing against Aaron Glenn. I like Aaron Glenn. It's just an interesting.
Like he won the press conference too.
Oh, he's so cool.
He won it.
He did. He did, and he's one of he might have had the best one he did have the best one I saw of any new head coach.
Yeah. Yep.
That's awesome. Yeah, he is cool all day long, man. He should have like Curtis Mayfield or P Funk playing every time he walks up to the podium.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He needs entrance music like a
For real,
wrestler.
it should be like the Hustler or like boom ding. Boom, 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 boom. And he should have like a gangster lean and a gold
Oh
chain.
yeah, with his pinstripe suit with a hat to the side, sunglasses indoors, all that stuff.
Yes, he should have to dress like Clyde Frazier did to the Ali Frazier fight at Madison Square Garden every time he does a press conference. Oh, I love it. All right. One more, and this one is
Oh
the
yeah. By the way, for the actual my actual answer, I'm going to say true that Salah is probably the best hire.
okay. Sorry, I forgot I actually asked a question there. I am with you. I am with you because I think it's that big. And I hope we're both wrong because it'll mean that the San Francisco's road back to being a pain in both of our butts is harder.
Oh yeah. Yep.
All right, last one, and this is one of the few things that I can make myself get a little sad about heading into the Super Bowl for the Eagles. Kellen Moore will be the next head coach of the Saints. They're the only one with an opening, and he did a virtual interview after the game this week. Oh, and one piece of context, real quick. Joe Brady pulled out. He is not going to take a head coaching job this offseason, the Bills' offensive coordinator. And Mike McCarthy has announced that he is not coaching in 2025.
Oh, okay, okay. Then yeah. Unfortunately for you, I think. Yeah, I think Moore is the most likely candidate at the very least. If not, I don't know if I can definitively say he's going to get it, but he looks like he's the leader in the clubhouse.
Unfortunately, I agree. I hope somebody else emerges. They've also interviewed Anthony Weaver, um, who was a defensive end for years, and I know has been on the Texans staff. I think he's their defensive coordinator or was at one point. I have to look it up. Sorry about the lack of information there. And then
Yeah.
Mike Kafka, who was the Eagles' backup quarterback about 7 or 8 years ago, and has risen through the ranks as quarterback coach and offensive this and that. So everything other than full coordinator, I think he's done. So hopefully one of those guys will get it. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to agree with you. He's got the best credentials of anybody they've interviewed so far. So I'm going to go with him and hope I'm wrong.
Right, right. I mean, even if he doesn't get it, one more year and then he's going to go anyway. He's not long for the Eagles either this year or next.
The only hope I have, Craig, is that he suffers from what Eli Manning and a few other people have, which I call goober disease, where he just looks like a dork and not and like an uninspired, like, and he doesn't look like a leader of men. You know what I mean? He
Right, no,
just
because
looks
he looks like he's 14 years old.
exactly. He's got that baby face thing. Yeah, yeah. So I'm hoping that the Saints will decide he just doesn't look like a head coach and send him on his way. And that's all I got on the true and
Shoot.
false.
Okay. Yeah. Can you can you repeat that?
Oh,
I
sure.
totally
Yeah,
missed you. My I got a call. I thought I silenced them. I didn't, and I missed the end of what you just said.
no worries, my man. No worries. I was just going off about what a goober Kellen Moore looks like, and that I hope, even though he's obviously a very smart guy and a very good coach, I'm hoping that the Saints will decide he doesn't look like a head coach and move on to somebody else.
Yep, totally agree there. Okay.
I just
Yeah,
hate to
yeah.
see. I would like to see Jalen Hurts for the first time in his career have the same offensive coordinator 2 years in a row.
Yeah, I mean, it is crazy how much of a revolving door that's been.
It's really nuts. It's a really is a credit to him. His career's been a little up and down, and he's not the best quarterback in the league. I don't think he's ever going to be, but he's had a hell of a career so far, and even better given that. Even better.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, I agree, and hopefully, yeah. I'm sorry, man. I think he's going to take this Saints job. Like you
I would.
said,
I
he
listen.
does
If
look
I had
like
to
a
bet,
goober. He looks like a goober, but I think he's going to get it.
and you can buy a lot of goobers, which was an old candy that was like chocolate covered raisins. You can buy a lot of goobers with a head coaching contract.
You could buy a lot of goobers.
Oh, quick, stupid, totally off the subject question for you. Best
Yep,
movie theater candy. Your go-to. You can only have one. That's it. You can't have popcorn and candy. You can't have soda and candy. You get one candy. Popcorn's out of the discussion. What is it?
snow caps.
Oh, I love it. I'm a milk dud man, but I respect the cap. Oh, I lost you for a second there. What was that?
I got another call. I've gotten. I didn't even tell you about the other. I got like 4 calls in a row,
Holy
and they're
crap! What is
all
going on?
they were all scam calls. It says
Oh, jeez.
scam likely is the name, scam likely, and it literally was like 4 or 5 right in a row. So I missed your goober response or your
No worries. That's the best. That's the best thing that's ever been said on this podcast. I missed your goober response. So
your snow caps response.
I said I respect the snow cap. It's probably my second favorite actually, but I was always a milk dud man.
Yeah, milk duds are very good. Don't get me wrong, but they kind of stick to your teeth a little bit. That always kind of turn
You
me
know the
away
real
from them.
you know the problem that developed for me too. You're right about the teeth stickage, which is a definite issue. But the other issue, as I got older, they started just killing my jaw. I couldn't like because there's
Oh
a
yeah, because it's hard toffee.
yeah, man, and you're chewing like the last time I did it, I was like, okay, I can't have milk duds anymore, man. My jaw was like I felt like I had to ice my jaw the time I got through
Yep.
a box of milk
But
duds.
I'm such a popcorn guy now, more in the theater than anything. I really don't get candy that often.
I don't either.
When I do, it is snow caps. But if I go to the theater, I'm getting me a bag of popcorn for sure. Halfway full. Tell the guy fill it halfway, put some butter on it, and then fill it the rest of the way. Put more butter on it.
Yes, love it, love it. Yeah, man. And plus, the older I get, the more likely that if I eat candy during the movie, that I'm going to be asleep before the end of it. Oh, I love it, man. Awesome, awesome.
Yeah. On for since we're talking about the movies, I can suggest one that you probably haven't seen yet. It's pretty good.
Oh, cool.
It's on Netflix. It's called Carry On.
Carry on. I
Yep,
don't.
in an airport, kind of like almost like a modern day Die Hard type of a situation.
Oh, love it. Okay.
TAA worker is the kid who played in Kingsman.
Okay.
Egerton, I believe his last name is, and he's with Jason Bateman.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it's very good. I saw a preview for it, and I was like, this looks pretty good, and I was not disappointed at all. I mean, kind of nothing crazy, not a mind bender or anything, but just a good action movie if that's something you're into.
I love that kind of thing. Absolutely. Yeah. Taron Egerton.
Yeah, yeah,
Cool.
he was. I really like the Kingsman movies, and he was in those.
I recognize his face from that. I got to go back and watch those. I know I'm going to like them. I just haven't done it yet. I'm weird with movies. I won't watch a movie for 6 months and then I'll watch 14 movies in 1 week. So,
Right. I hear you.
and I've been on an old TV show lately. I've gone through Oz,
Oh,
The Wire, and now Breaking Bad. And
oh, Breaking Bad was so good.
oh man, and I watched all of them before, but I haven't watched Breaking Bad since the original run. So this is only my second time through with it. So I'm forgetting all kinds of stuff, and it's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's so good. And what did we're watching? Well, just finished all the Cobra Kai that's
Oh,
available.
nice.
Cobra
I'm gonna do
Kai.
that soon. I haven't watched any of the last 5 episode last season stuff yet, but I was up to date up until then.
Right, me neither. And I had a day off and had nothing going on. I think it was last Friday, and I literally watched like 10 episodes straight.
Dude, you and I are so much alike, man. That's awesome.
And I'm waiting. There's five more coming out in February to finish it up. It's the finales, the last five. They're coming out, I believe, the second week of February, and then that's it. The show's over.
Okay, because that's what I've been waiting for. Is I'm gonna watch the other 10 like the week before that happens.
Right. And then what else? I mean, I watched Stranger Things when that's coming out in
Oh,
the end of the year.
go. Are you a Squid Game guy? I just watched the second season of that.
Nah, not really.
All right, I was
Not a
pleasantly
Squid Game
surprised
guy.
there.
Oh, on Peacock, The Jackal. Me and Jen just finished The Jackal,
See, now
and
I like the Jack. I've read the Jackal books when I was young. I watched the Jackal movie with Bruce Willis 20 years ago,
yeah,
and
this is very very good. That show is phenomenal. You'll like that, especially if you like the books. Yeah, man, you're gonna love that show. It's on Peacock, and yeah, it's excellent.
that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm in.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I know
And
that guy, that main guy. Yeah, he's good. Okay, cool.
yeah, you'll like it. You'll definitely
Awesome.
like it.
I'm in.
Yeah,
All right, nice little TV review segment. I like this.
yeah. And lastly, my second favorite pay per view is on Saturday, the Royal Rumble,
Yes.
and I
Yes.
can't wait because there's going to
Oh,
be a lot of returns, more than usual.
oh, tell me about it.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming. Well, Charlotte Flair for sure. She's been
That's
out for over a year. She's been out for 14 months.
She's been out since before I went to WrestleMania last year.
Right? Was it that long? Jeez.
Yeah, man. Yep, because she hasn't been back the whole time. I have not seen her
Oh
wrestle
yeah.
since.
That's right. You're right. She was out in like November 2023.
That's crazy, man. That's a long,
Well, she
long.
blew every ligament. She blew her ACL, MCL, and meniscus. All of
Wow,
them.
that's brutal, man. That is brutal.
All three. But she's having vignettes, so that's not really. I mean, that's a surprise because she's going to be back. But she's actually having vignettes, and in the last vignette, she said she's going to be in the Royal Rumble, so she'll be back.
That's so
But
awesome, man.
I think Becky Lynch is going to come back,
Oh, that's great.
and Alexa Bliss.
Nice. And she's been out. She was out because of having a kid and all that, right?
She had a baby, and then for whatever reason, she just didn't want to come back right away. She had a baby a while ago, like a year ago. She had the baby a year. She'd been out for like 2 years.
That's incredible, man. I mean, yeah, you just don't, and good for her for wanting to be a mom. I assume that's what that was about. But you just
Right.
don't see many people do that right in their prime.
Right. Um, so yeah, that's on the women's side. On the men's side, I'm thinking I got a feeling. I know The Rock says that he's not going to be available for WrestleMania this year.
Hmm.
I'll believe it when I see it. I got a feeling he might show up at this Rumble and like just break the rules and like be number 31 or something.
Oh,
You know,
that'd be great.
number 30 is the last one, last entrant, and then then the countdown happens again. They're going to be like, "What the hell? We already got all 30 guys," and it'll be him.
That'd be awesome.
That's kind of what I think. And by the way, I have no idea who's going to win any of these.
I love it.
The
I love
Royal
it,
Rumble is stacked this year.
man. It
CM
just
Punk's in it, Drew
Yeah, that's
McIntyre,
crazy.
uh, uh, obviously Jey Uso, all those, but Roman Reigns is in it.
That's wild.
He hasn't been in one in like 5 years because he's always been champion.
Yeah, like he just does his Roman thing. He defends a title 3 times a year, whether they want him to or not.
Right. And he hasn't been in the Rumble in forever. So I got a feeling he might be the favorite, I guess, but I don't think he's going to win it. I think if The Rock comes out, if The Rock has been swerving us and he is going to be available for WrestleMania, he enters last or 31st or whatever, and he eliminates Roman. And that sets up Rock Roman at Mania.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, if he's available. If he's not available, then I don't know who's going to eliminate whoever eliminates him probably is going to be his WrestleMania opponent,
Oh, that's a good call too. Yeah,
unless he wins it.
right. But they could use it to set something up. Yeah.
Right. I don't know. I have absolutely no idea which way they're going with it. There's so many big names in it, and even in the girls too. And although I think Charlotte, even though I don't love it, I think she's probably going to win it because she wins everything.
It seems like crazy obvious.
Yeah, maybe they'll swerve us. There's a big upswell for Io Sky to win it.
That's cool. She's great.
Oh, she is great in the ring, and yeah. Since last time we talked about wrestling, Tiffany Stratton won the title.
How about that?
Tiffy time.
How
And she
about
is
that?
so over. My God.
It's amazing. Yeah,
She
she's
is
killing it.
so over.
She's absolutely killing it, man. She's
And
a
that's probably who Charlotte will go after if she wins it.
so yes, okay. So anyway, yeah, of course. So that's I mean, it's like she's like a younger her, you know?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
And like just the blonde, the platinum blonde, and the background of actual athletics. You know,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
She's super athletic.
yeah, it's fascinating. That's cool, man. Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
So
There's somebody there. That's going to be fun. That's really cool.
I'm probably going to watch it on Sunday instead of Saturday. But yeah, I'm excited for it. The Rumble's always fun. You never know who's going to show up. You never know who's gonna enter. And there's always surprises. Oh, remember Alistair Black?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, he went to AEW and he was Malachi Black there, but he's got released. He's back on the free agent market. Everybody assumes he's coming back, and he's supposed to be a surprise entrant as well.
Okay, that's cool. He was cool. He
Yeah.
had a cool shtick. I liked his thing.
Oh, and they announced another partnership with TNA,
Get
so
out. What's that all about?
there's going to be more TNA people again. Jordan Grace, which actually she was in the last couple Royal Rumbles. She's jacked. And she was a TNA Women's Champion at the time, or Knockouts Champion, they call it. But she actually got released, and she's coming to WWE full time. But she's expected to be in it, and hopefully Joe Hendry will be in it just for the song.
No way.
Yeah, and he's actually the TNA champion. He
Yeah,
just won the title there.
that's great.
I believe in Joe Hendry.
Yes, that's awesome. That's so
With a
awesome.
cheesy smile, I love it.
Oh my god, that's funny. Yeah, man.
Yeah, so hopefully he'll be there too. A couple, we'll see if anybody else. But yeah, they announced that the partnership with TNA. They had a loose agreement before. Now it's like an ironclad. Like there's people going back and forth between them, but they don't do any real main roster stuff. It's all NXT and
Okay.
TNA.
Okay.
A lot of a couple NXT girls have gone over to TNA, had a couple matches over there. TNA people have gone over here and had matches in NXT. So we'll have to see. But either way, kind of cool. WWE acknowledging the existence of other federations, which they never did before.
Another post Vince improvement.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I like that. I like that they acknowledge that.
I do too. I mean, it's silly not to.
Yeah.
And then the WWE has always been better when there's either some kind of competition or some kind of feeder system that developed naturally back in the day from the territories, but or Dusty Rhodes started with the what do they call it? The WWE school.
Oh, NXT.
Oh, I thought there was a name for just the school or something. My bad.
Oh
Um,
yeah. It used to. It was Ohio Valley Wrestling, I think, before
oh, that's right. That's what I was trying.
from
That
way back, and then
thank you.
they changed to NXT.
I forgot about that's what was stuck in my brain there. Thank you.
Here's the trivia. Who's the first ever NXT champion?
Oh my god. Was what about oh god Cody Rhodes.
Still wrestling today.
Is it CM Punk?
No,
No, because he came
good.
from Independence.
No,
Uh,
good guess.
Cody Rhodes.
Nope, it was Seth freaking Rollins.
Oh, that's a great one. Oh man, that's awesome.
Yep, Seth was Dusty's boy. Dusty loved him.
That's great, man. Well, it's understandable why, because Seth turned into one of the best ever.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to. Yeah, oh yeah, he's in the Rumble as well.
Oh my god.
I mean, everybody's there.
I mean,
Everybody's in except Cody and Kevin Owens because they're fighting each other. But
Yeah,
other than that,
I pulled up a list while you were talking, and it's not even everybody, and the names are just crazy. I mean,
yeah,
Cena's in it,
yeah. Oh, that's right, Cena.
Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, Logan Paul.
Yep.
Wow, Braun Breaker you already mentioned.
Yep.
Man, that is crazy.
There's a
Wow.
lot. There's a lot. Cena could win it too, because if he's gonna, the rumor is that he's gonna try to go against Gunther at WrestleMania for the title, so he could definitely win it.
I think I saw something too about he could tie Stone Cold's record for winning 3 of them or something if he
Yeah,
wins
Stone
too.
Cold won three. He's the only one. He could tie that record, and then if he wins the title at some point this year in his farewell tour here, he'll tie Ric Flair's record
Man,
or
wow.
break it. I'm sorry, break it. He already tied it.
What is it? Because when I was growing up, it was always Ric Flair was a 7-time NWA World Champion, but I know it was way more than that by the time he
No,
was done.
16.
16, okay.
He won it 16 times, and Cena's won it 16 times as well.
Man, I remember having it was probably the Wrestler or Inside Wrestling, one of the two, and it was the Flair's on the cover, just a crimson mask, and
Oh
uh,
yeah.
and it was 7-time NWA World Champion, and that would have been like 1984 or something. You know what I mean? So it makes a lot of sense that there's a bigger number. And hey, while we're talking about wrestling, I wanted to mention this book I've been reading, man. It's really good. It's by a guy named Patrick W. Reed. It's called Kayfabe: A Mostly True History of Professional Wrestling. Have you ever come across this?
I have heard of it. I never read it.
I've read a
I
lot of wrestling books, mostly biographies. I've read Mick Foley's books.
Yeah. Yep.
I've read a ton. I could list 25 wrestlers. I've read their biographies, but I've read a couple of like the history of wrestling books, and this is my favorite one so far. It's really good. It's really in depth. There's a lot of bad books out there, and I like to give credit to ones that are good. And this one's really, really good. It's well thought
Yeah.
out. It goes all the way back to the 1800s. Starts with carnival guys and works your way through to getting into the
Yeah.
early
I mean,
days.
kayfabe was taken seriously up until like the '90s.
Yeah. Oh, it was.
Even after the '90s.
And even after, and where I'm at now in the book, and this is what made me think of it because you brought up CM Punk a little while ago, is he's talking about the pipe bomb promo right now, and I'm halfway through the book
Yep.
because he started talking about a lot of with oh God, I never remember this guy's name, and I watched him wrestle all the time. I suck. Brian, who's the guy that died in the '90s that was doing
Brian
the
Pillman.
thank you, who did the he was one of the first guys ever, maybe the first, to do the smart mark kayfabe thing.
Oh, okay. Yep.
If that
Yep.
makes sense, you know what I mean? Like a wink and a nod to the people that actually know what's going on in wrestling that aren't in the business, but the fans. And now I'm going to tweak you because I'm going to talk about stuff that you know is real, but I'm going to tweak that.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? And that all led up to the pipe bomb and a lot of other examples of that moving forward from the '90s. You know, when it became okay, now it's wrestling entertainment, but there's still a whole world of stuff we can play with here. You know?
Right. And it's weird. They go in and out of kayfabe all the time now, but it's almost dead, pretty much. I mean, you see, I mean, they're on Instagram and stuff doing stuff, and you see people who are like, supposed to be, enemies or whatever, feuding, and they're like laughing and stuff in the background, and
Yeah, totally.
so it's pretty much dead now. Every once in a while they'll protect it a little bit, but they used to be vehemently protecting it back in the day, in the '80s especially.
Oh, the stories about protecting kayfabe are some of my favorite and some of the crazy stories. The ultimate one ever is Hulk Hogan when he rolled in to train for the first time with that Japanese guy who was in Florida, who's a legend whose name I'm blanking on right now. And Hogan had made the mistake of running his mouth around town about how he was going to be a pro wrestler. He shows up finally to train,
And they
and they
break his
break his
leg. They
leg.
broke his leg. Yep.
Yep. And the only reason he
Antonio
became
was
a
it
pro wrestler is because he had the
Antonio?
balls to show up again.
Is it Antonio Inaki?
That's the guy that guy trained under. Anaki's the like Hulk Hogan of Japan. I'll find. Give me 2 seconds and I'll find it.
Yeah.
Um,
Hogan tells that story a lot, that they broke his leg the first day just to see if he would come back, and he's like, fourth, whatever it was, 3 4 months later he showed back up, and then they gave him a shot and they actually trained him.
Absolutely, Hiro Matsuda.
Matsuda, that's right, you're right. Yep.
Hiro Matsuda, and the other another great one is the legendary Stu Hart dungeon in Canada, Bret Hart's
Oh
stab.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, and how Ric Flair was that no that was Vern Gagne that
Vern
Ric
Gagne.
Flair quit on.
Yeah. Stu Hart would just bring you down in the dungeon and just stretch you for like 3 hours.
Yeah, and for
Just
people that
stretch like to the brink of your threshold. I mean,
yeah,
it's legendary. The shit he used to do to people down there. I mean, somebody I once heard somebody say it's actually a form of torture.
it is. It is. Think about this, Craig. Because when I was growing up, when we were growing up, because we're the same age-ish, I would hear about people getting stretched and think, "Oh God, I don't even know really what that means." It just, but tough guys make it sound bad, so it's got to be painful. But what
Right.
I've learned in a lifetime later of following MMA and what quote unquote real fighting is all about is that these guys, that Vern Gagne could have been an MMA champion back in the day,
Oh
and
yeah.
so could
Stu
have Stu
Stu Hart.
Hart because they knew submissions, and
Yeah.
he was putting them in arm bars and knee bars and ankle locks and things that if you don't tap out, you get your arm broken and your leg broke, like and doing stuff that was real, like real
Yeah.
stuff that and he was just
Plus,
killing these
Stu
people.
had friggin' meat hooks on him too. His hands were
Oh,
huge.
massive. And these guys were so tough, man. And
Yeah.
it just the stories of the old days I could go on for hours. I just love them. I love it, love it, love it.
Yep. Yep. But anyway, yeah. And Netflix, by the way, is soaring with them. They're actually bringing the price up a little bit, which kind of blows.
I just saw that. Yes.
But some people are blaming WWE.
Mm. That's so funny, man. That's so funny. Listen, if anybody thinks Netflix wasn't going to raise their price anyway, they're crazy.
Right. Totally. Totally
Yeah,
agree.
because without the
But
WWE, they were just going to gift it to us all for generations.
right. And yeah. uh, but the show's been pretty good. I've enjoyed it. The darker matte I kind of like. And the lighting and they have a drone
It,
now flying around the arena to open every show.
it looks great, man. It really
Yeah,
does.
the production value is through the roof.
You told me, and then when I got caught up, I was blown away. I was as impressed as I was hoping to be.
Yeah, yeah. So it's been a lot of fun, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the Rumble. That is, like I said, other than Mania, it's my favorite pay per view because it marks first of all heading to WrestleMania. It tells you who's going to be in the main event of WrestleMania, and you get a lot of good returns. Sometimes you get a nostalgic return of an older guy too. Sometimes,
Yes, and every now
um,
and then you get a it would be sometimes my statements would be just so much better if I could remember a name, Craig. It's gonna lose the fun impact. Titus. Every now and then you get a Titus who goes
oh,
flying under the ring.
that's an all time great wrestling blooper.
I can't believe he didn't have what happened to Charlotte Flair happen to him either when that happened. That he didn't come out just horribly hurt, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But I guess he got lucky wherever he landed. There was nothing there under the ring because that ring is packed with stuff.
It's packed with stuff. They always pull stuff out of there during matches, you know?
Right, right. But he luckily there was nothing there. And
If anybody, what is Titus's? Is it just Titus, or what's his full name?
Titus O'Neil,
Titus O'Neil. If anybody listening to this has not seen Titus O'Neil's entrance in the Royal Rumble, probably what 5 years ago now, Craig?
maybe more, 5 6 years ago, it
Five,
was
six.
actually the greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, that's right. It was in Saudi. That's right.
Right. They did a second Rumble, which was stupid because there was nothing on the line for it. It was just the greatest Royal Rumble ever or whatever. And that's where it was. So it'll be easy to look up.
That's I forgot it was that weird one. That's
And
right.
he went, when he fell, was running to the ring. He fell, slid on his stomach right under the ring. And not just a little bit where his feet were sticking out, completely. His feet, everything under the ring.
Disappeared like he was never there. It was the greatest. It was you couldn't have staged it and have it come out so well.
Right, right. And that wasn't staged. You could tell that wasn't staged.
There's no way you couldn't have possibly done it. That somebody would have gotten hurt trying to do that. The fact that he didn't get massively injured is astonishing to
No,
me.
he came out from under the ring laughing and just got back in and did his thing.
And did his thing. Yeah. Anybody that hasn't seen it, check it out. You'll laugh all day long.
Yeah, it's a great blooper. All right, man. Well, I think that wraps up this one.
We did it again. I love it.
Yep.
Good one, man. That was fun.
Next week we'll preview the Super Bowl. We'll check in on the Rumble, who won and who lost. That might be something interesting, and at least who won both of them. And
Absolutely.
yeah, Super Bowl time.
Can't wait, man. Yeah,
Oh,
we have one more week of talking about it, and then it'll actually happen. And
wait, last topic. Did you hear about Justin Tucker?
oh, I didn't know if I should bring it up at the very end or not, but it was scrolling by on ESPN as we were talking. He is now in a similar situation to a certain Cleveland quarterback. It looks like, huh?
It looks like it, yeah. So he might be done, especially considering he's been trending down anyway in his actual career too. So I got a feeling this is the last we're going to see of Justin Tucker.
Well, isn't that interesting, man? Is it doesn't take a whole lot to think that there's people are going to be making connections between his worst season ever and what's going on here.
Yep, yep.
Well,
So
let's. I hope it's not true, but if it is, I hope he pays for it.
yeah, and he will.
Yep, he will. He won't work again if it's true.
Yeah,
So, man, what a shame. And the thing is, we didn't even say it's the same thing that happened with Deshaun Watson. It was massage. People are making claims of inappropriate behavior.
right. Yep, we can leave it there.
And we can leave it right there. And yeah, man. And go watch Titus O'Neil because that's a lot more fun.
Yeah, I might just do it myself, even though I've seen it,
Yeah,
because
I'm
it's
gonna
so good.
as soon as I hang up with you, brother, I'm gonna do it because I haven't watched it in a minute, and I'm gonna watch it as soon as we're done.
Yeah. Oh, and check out Ali Venable as well.
Oh, I
Don't
will
forget
for
to do
sure, for
to
sure.
do that. I just reacted to her on the Reaction Music channel, and we've got some other stuff coming up too. You, you sent me um, Lure there,
Adrian Blue.
Adrian Lure. Yep. And I did another one. I did one of his. That'll be out Saturday. And I also did. You're not going to believe this. I did a Tom Jones video.
No, what song?
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay, please wait. You don't tell me. I know you won't, and it's okay. But and I probably won't be. But please tell me it's the one I saw him do like 10 or 15 years ago where he raps.
Oh no, it wasn't that. No, it's more of a rock. It's more of a rock song. It's a cover of a
Oh,
well-known
interesting. Okay.
rock song. I did not realize this. Apparently, that's where his career went. His career went to covers a lot in his later years. This is from I think 2009 or 2011,
Oh, I
one or the
love it.
other. And I had to go through the entire concert because there was no just single video of the song I was looking for. So I had to go through, and of course it was right towards the end. So I'm trying to make sure after every song I can hear the beginning of it. And he did Hard to Handle by the Black Crows. He did
Really?
yeah, he did a lot of rock songs. In Excess.
Dude,
Uh,
Tom, he makes me laugh. He is so funny. Like
yeah,
he is priceless. Like he
yeah,
is
he
so
really is.
he's crazy over the top, but he's also really good.
Yeah, his
And
voice is excellent, obviously.
it is. And he was one of the ultimate ladies' men of his generation. He was
Oh, yep.
they were throwing panties on stage at Tom's Jones in 1967.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, I when I heard this, I was like, "There's no way I'm doing this," because I hear Tom Jones, I think it's not unusual, that song.
Totally, man. What's new,
Yeah,
Pussycat?
yeah, and that kind of stuff. Which is not what I'm into at all. But then I hear he went to covers later in his career. He did, I would say, of the concert that I looked at in 2011, I would say half the songs were cover songs.
Dude, you know what? That's funny because he's not alone. My when I first got hired as a guitar teacher in the late '90s, I worked for a guy named Dave Malone. Dave was a guy. I ended up being in a band of his for a while. Dave was a great guy, and he had a tradition at the place I taught at that once a year he would play all day long on repeat. Pat Boone, you know who Pat Boone is?
I've heard of Pat Boone.
So Pat Boone was the whitest of white guys of all time that made a living covering black people's music in the 50s and 60s. He has
Oh,
the
before Elvis.
right around during and after Elvis even.
Okay.
And he's been around ever since. And he has, no joke, the craziest, most ridiculous version of Little Richard's Tutti Frutti that you'll ever. It was huge among white people back then, which is crazy. But he's Craig. He's wearing a cardigan sweater. Okay, and it goes like this: a wop baba loobop, a bop bam boom, a tutti frutti. Oh, Rudy. It's like
Oh my god.
it's crazy, bro. I might have you react to it now that I brought it up because it's that ridiculous. But it's insane. And he did an album of hard rock and heavy metal covers in the
Jeez.
90s with big band arrangements. I remember Smoke on the Water was on it, Enter Sandman,
Come
Crazy
on.
Train, No More Mr. Nice Guy by Alice Cooper. And he on the cover, he was bare chested, wearing jeans and a leather vest.
Oh my god.
And his crowd, Craig, was super religious. He had to do a massive mea culpa, forsake any connection to that album ever to be able to keep his fan base. It was one of the funniest things that ever happened. And my boss used to play that once a year.
That's fantastic.
Pat Boone, baby. Check it out. Yeah, man. And check out Craig's reactions, man. Perks recap on YouTube, man. They are awesome. I love them. I get
Yep.
reactions from them
If
all the
you're
time.
Yep. And if you're watching this on YouTube right now, make sure you hit the like button. It takes 2 seconds to hit that little thumbs up. We definitely appreciate it. And yeah, on to the Super Bowl, man.
Dun dun dun. Here we go. I can't believe
Uh,
we're there.
yeah. It was slow, but then it was not so slow. Then it was fast.
It's wild, man. Because yeah, in some ways it seems like a long time, and then sometimes it seems like you blinked and you were there. You know,
Right. Yep. Exactly. All
I
right.
love it.
Well, that's gonna do it for this one. Al, until next week, I will see you later.